what's up everybody? How is it going? Welcome. My name is Oshikorosu and I am building this to be a bit of a survival guide for you to help you on your journey through Green Hell. This game is super amazing. It's very fun. It's a survival-based game based on gathering and hunting and self-maintenance. And one of the things that this game is very poor at doing is kind of communicating with you some very basic necessities. So I planned on creating a spoiler-free or as much of a spoiler-free opportunity as anybody could to give you just some small hints and tips and tricks as to how to make a super enjoyable and after watching this video, you will be living in the lap of luxury in the Green Hell universe. So welcome. So as I mentioned, this video is designed to be as spoiler-free as possible. So I'm starting at the very start of the game. This is where you're going to load up in survival mode. We are playing when you load up into story mode, we're playing our game in survival mode, but that doesn't stop us from, there's nothing different for survival versus story, except for there's no story missions. So the very first thing that we're going to start this video off with is gathering some very basic supplies. So step one is we're going to go out and gather 10 small stakes, 10 sticks, about 4 rocks, and I guess 4 or 5 pieces of vine. So before you pause your video, actually, I wanted to give you a couple of hints and tips, tips and tricks on gathering your basic materials while you're out foraging for your 10 sticks, 10 small sticks, 4 rope, and a couple of rocks. I wanted to show you something that I didn't learn about until much later in the game, and I didn't really realize this was an option. But there's an ability, let's say we're coming really high up on a lot of sticks, and we're not finding so many small sticks. This is obviously not my situation right now, but you have the ability to right-click and to harvest many materials in this game. And what will happen is it will break down without the need of tools, some of your bigger materials into smaller materials. So sticks turn into small sticks, big stones turn into 2 small stones. So that's very important. Oh, 3 small stones. And when you cut trees down, you can also break down the logs and the large sticks that fall for, different amounts of things as well. Also, while you're out foraging, feel free to gather any material that you guys find. So mushrooms, nuts, any kind of food that you think you might want to be eating during the next, the initial parts of the game, because it is going to be important. A little bit of foraging is going to be important. If you've been having a hard time locating the rope, you'll find it on these really thick trees that have the leafy coverings, and it's the liana, and you just hold it to take it, and you'll gather some rope. So I'm actually basically ready. So if you would like to pause your game and go ahead and get the materials required, please go ahead and do so. We're going to start getting some basic crafting done. That's going to help us along our journey. And I will meet you guys when you resume the video. Okay, so in our inventory, we now have 10 sticks. We have 10 small sticks. I have about 3 ropes. In our backpack, we have 3 stones. I could probably use another stone or 2, and I'm going to need them eventually. However, first things first, we are going to craft something very, very basic. We're going to craft ourselves a stone blade, which is 2 pieces of stone. Now, we're going to actually create another one of these very shortly, which is why we're going to need more than that. However, the first thing that we want to build in Green Hell, especially if you're starting in survival mode, so this is going to cover the whole thing, not just story mode as well, but you're going to want to build a shelter. And I have done literally all of this without even crossing the first log that we start off in the game. I think when you very first start, you start right around this position. So we're going to want to go gather another like 3 or 4 stones. It's good to have a couple extra, but the first thing you're going to want to do is to build a shelter. So let's find a location. Let's just assume we're setting up camp down here, and we're going to scout out a good spot for our first camp. And I think down here by the river is a good spot for us to start just for the base of this tutorial. So we're going to open up our notebook. In our notebook, we're going to find some framework, and we're going to build ourselves a frame, which is going to consist of 4 logs and 5 long sticks and 4 pieces of rope. So we're also going to need to gather another piece of rope. So when choosing trees to cut down, we cannot cut down super, super thick trees such as this one here. However, we can cut down these smaller, thicker trees with the leafy bindings. And these are some of the best trees I find to cut down early on in game because they're going to provide 2 logs, a couple long sticks, and some extra rope for us. So it's going to provide, it's going to just act as a, where did my tree fall? So it's going to give us a couple things that we're looking for. All right, so at this time I've gathered my 4 logs. I put them in place. I just need to go ahead and gather my my long sticks. I got a couple down here already, and I got a couple more up. I'm going to need 1 more additionally. I guess one thing you can do while building your shelter is one of the things we're going to need at the shelter is a fire. This is one of the large reasons we're building a shelter, so that the rain doesn't put the fire out. We're going to find this also in our notebook under the fire section. We're going to build the small fire. The reason why I would want to do this a little bit early is just so I can consume some of the small sticks in my inventory, and it'll allow me to actually gather some more while we're out and about cutting down trees and crafting things. So it will allow us to have our stockpile back in position. Okay, so I've got my last long stick. I have all the vines that I need to build this up, and I had to actually craft another piece of stone blade, but that's fine. So basically, now all we need to do is we have the frame built, but the frame is useless unless it has a roof. So with that, we're going back into our housing structures, and we're going to navigate out to the final page and find the palm roof. And then we're going to gather 16 palm leaves, which is like 2 of these large, not these small bushes like this, but there's a larger palm bush, and it's going to be a little bit further up. Now, if you can't, you could alternatively use the banana leaves, and that's up to you. If you're in an area during survival mode that has way more banana leaves, but one of these large palm bushes are some of the ones we want to do. So we're going to grab our stone blade, we're going to come and beat down this bush, and it's going to allow us to gather a bunch of palm leaves and move forward. So I'm going to opt to actually cut down one of these trees here, which is kind of unfortunate because these trees are really good for providing nuts. However, I kind of want the dry leaves so we can start a fire. So this is something else you're going to want to be conscious about, is to find some dry leaves while you're out foraging your very first area for survival that you can get it so you can, start your fire. That's going to be kind of important. Okay, so finally we've built our structure. Welcome to the game. We can now save it, which is incredible. We should save our game. This is a good position to save. So I'm just going to start and save my file here. I guess the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to build a fire. And then we will be at home base, and it's kind of we're at a really basic good start. So we're going to craft 1 stick and 1 small stick to make our hand drill. And hopefully we have enough stamina, because I've been using a lot of stamina by sprinting, just for the sake of trying to get a bunch of stuff done for this video. However, if you choose not to sprint, you'll conserve a lot more energy as well. And it seems like we'll be just fine. We use our little ember, we're going to ignite our fire, and now we have a safe fire that's safe from the elements, a safe position to save our game, and now we can kind of start answering some really basic questions on survival in green hell. Okay, so we're back. I've gone ahead, I've gathered my sticks, I've gathered my small sticks, and I have some extra vine left over. What we're going to start doing is we're going to start crafting. So this is one of the very basic crafts in the game. I guess I don't have the material for it. We're going to go and we are going to build ourselves a small spear, and we're going to build ourselves 1 more item, and then we will be ready to start. Are you guys excited? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up taking this log, and I'm going to just break it by hitting it a couple times. And this log is going to provide me with 2 long sticks. So we're going to expand our menu, and we're going to craft on the long stick. And with the long stick, we're going to add 1 piece of rope, and we're going to add our stone blade. Now this is going to give us a stone spear. And if you notice, without the stone spear, this actually crafts a bow. So we actually want the stone spear for the time being. One of the things that the game does not tell you about is not the crafting recipe, but one of the things that the game does not tell you about is that you can throw this stone spear by holding your middle mouse button. Now, there are a couple options in the bottom right of the screen. However, I didn't really understand. I just thought aim was just to use my mouse. But if you hold the middle mouse button, you're able to charge a throw, and you're able to toss this at whatever you're hunting. So this is invaluable, and it's going to be very important for us. While we're here, I'm going to craft my other long stick, and I'm going to turn it into a bow, because it's nice to have a bow, even if we don't even have the arrows, because hopefully eventually we find something important. One more thing we're going to craft again, one more stone blade, because we're going to need it for some harvesting, for his basic harvesting and cutting trees down. So let's get started. Our nutritional supplements are kind of going downhill, and it's not looking good for us. So we probably should do some surviving. It's getting late at night. We don't know what's going on. We got a fire burning, but we have nothing cooking. So let's start. You are slowly dehydrating. Check on your status on smartwatch to find something to drink. Welcome to the first and foremost question. How to maintain safe drinking water in green hell. All right, one thing you're going to notice in your game is that drinking water is very difficult to find. It seems that all the water we happen to run across is either unsafe or dirty, and drinking unsafe water gives us parasite, and drinking dirty water is not good for us. So even despite that there's a lot of rain, there's a couple different ways for you to stay hydrated. The first and foremost is to try and find a coconut. And you can find coconuts either by looking into palm trees, and sometimes they will be hanging. One of the things you did not learn about during the game or the tutorial or basically anything is that, look, there's a coconut up there in the tree. So we're going to, remember I asked you to grab a couple extra small rocks? I know it's hard to see, but they are up there. It's nighttime. I should have waited for a little bit during the daytime. We're going to take one of these stones, and if you hold the G key on your keyboard, you can actually throw rocks, which is interesting because if you hit a coconut, badoof, it's going to fall down. All right. This is why there's actually another coconut down here as well, so which helps us out a ton. There's one more up in the tree, but for the sake of this video, we are only going to need maybe one coconut. Let's go ahead and cut this coconut open by smashing it. And then we're going to, as we right-click the coconut, we're going to drink it. Hooray, we have drinking water. We're going to take the coconut, and I guess I'll bring this coconut as well. So I'm going to head back to the base. I have one full coconut, and one coconut that I haven't drank, and then one coconut that I have. So we're going to go ahead and drink this coconut, and then we're going to, now one of the things we're going to do is we're going to harvest one of the coconuts, because one of the coconuts is going to have coconut with flesh, and we may as well just go ahead and eat this because it's healthy and we're running low on nutrients anyways. But once you eat them, you're going to find you have these coconut bowls. Really cool. Now, I did not know this, but you can actually set your coconut bowls out onto the ground, and when it rains, fresh water will rain into the coconut bowl. Absolutely incredible. Another thing we can do is we can take unsafe water and we can take drinking water, and we can actually, with our menu open, now you need to do this with the menu open, you can drop it into the water and it will fill up with the water, and then we can move it over and put it on our fire, and we're going to boil the water to keep it clean, which is also absolutely incredible. So this is the biggest and the safest and the most effective way to maintain clean drinking water. And once you found one coconut, you will literally have enough to get you through. You will never run out of clean drinking water ever again. You'll set up camp near a safe water source. You will have coconut bowls, and you will be boiling water like crazy, but you will always have it. Now, if you want to take water with you on the go, we can also craft this coconut that we drank, but we did not harvest, with one. I don't have a piece of rope. As I was saying, we're going to craft the empty coconut with a rope, and it's going to give us this thing called a coconut bidon. And basically, this is a portable water carrier. It's kind of like a flask or whatever you want to think about it. We can't eat it. We can't do anything else with it except for that. So now what's going to happen is once we have some water in our inventory, or once we have water available to us, it's actually going to make it a little bit easier. I'm doing this the wrong way, but we're going to grab both of our coconut shells here. And I kind of want to move on to the next section about hunting and eating. So, but anyways, what we can do is we can put our coconut bowls on the fire, and we can take our bidon, and dip it into the water. If we can reach it. Little icon shows up and it fills your bidon up with water. We can actually transfer that water into these, and then once it boils, we can spill this water out. And then once this water is safe to drink, we can fill our water back up. Boof and boof. Now we have clean drinking water to bring with us on the go. So you should never, ever, ever be thirsty ever, ever again. Okay, so one thing I decided not to build was a bed. Now, this is just a decision on my part, but we're going to go ahead and lay it on the ground here and go to sleep. We're just going to do it long enough to get a little bit of energy for us, because we don't need a full sleep, but we don't want our fire to burn out as well, and we kind of want to make sure everything gets stoked, because our next step is we're going to be talking about, I don't know if I need the whole stack. Let's just keep that fire burning a little bit. So the next thing we're going to learn about is, now that we've found our clean drinking water source, the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be hunting. Hunting is a super awesome way, and there's a lot of really amazing resources at the very start of the game when it comes to plants and animals and stuff that we can get. So let's go ahead, and now we're going to take our first steps across the bridge. And while we cross the bridge, I know it's really early in the daytime. It's very difficult to see, but welcome to the other side. It's now time for us to leave the waterfall and do a little bit of exploration. This is still spoiler free. This is all in the very, very front of the game. And welcome to the other side of the bridge. So while we're out here, we're going to want to be foraging. So grab as many fruits and vegetables and as everything that you see, and we'll give a quick breakdown on what's safe to eat and why it's not, or whatever the situation is. As you go down this path, listen very carefully. Well, that's rustling in the grass. But listen very carefully, because there are rattlesnakes in this early part, and it's the very first predator that we're going to meet. However, it's also an opportunity for us to practice our hunting. Now, once you get close to a rattlesnake or a spider, you're gonna hear that shaking sound. Spiders make more of a rattle sound. They don't make such a. The rattlesnakes have a more pronounced sound. So we're just going to leave that spider alone. I don't want to deal with him right now. He's not on my menu. Even though you can access insects, you can eat them should you decide to. That ain't me. So again, we're learning about survival. So I'm just going to go ahead and eat everything that I've collected up to this point, just to kind of illustrate that as the very start of the game is tons of healthy options that you can eat. However, do not eat this unknown mushroom. This one that has the webbing around it, do not eat it. We'll need to cook it before it's edible. But now we've already, you can see we've already improved our health status quite a bit, but we're still missing it on proteins. It's now daytime out, so we can actually see things a little bit better. Let's just tread very carefully while we're walking through here, because we are looking for a rattlesnake. This is one of the important things that I wanted to show you guys. I hear an iguana somewhere. However, iguanas are very small and very fast. They run away, and they don't make good prey. Happen to found a dead animal on the ground. So again, we're just going to kind of harvest everything that we can. Dead animals usually have maggots and sometimes something else, but apparently that's not the case today. Okay, if you're good enough and you can spot him well enough, you can actually see them in the wild. However, the foliage and stuff makes it very difficult for us to see this. As you get near the rattlesnake, you're going to hear this telltale rattling of the tail. As long as you don't get too close, he's not going to be any harm. However, if you get too close, you're going to get bitten. So this guy is a problem because A, he's a predator, but also B, well, he's a problem because he's a predator. Remember how I showed you how to knock coconuts out of trees? Well, we can throw rocks at things too, and it does damage. So we're going to get skill ups for throwing rocks, but also 2 rock throws is going to take out a rattlesnake. We're going to harvest him because we can. And this is going to give us a source of protein. Surprising. However, Not I didn't really know about throwing, and I didn't it didn't seem to register for me that we could hunt in the same way. Uh so you can hunt by throwing rocks at small predators like the spiders as well. You can hunt the spiders by throwing rocks at them. You can hunt snakes by throwing rocks at them. And if you happen to see birds that are kind of just chilling around, you can, maybe those ones aren't good targets, okay? But if you ever see them like perched up on a tree branch or something, like right over there, if he was a little bit closer, we could have some toucan meat. So we have completed our first hunt. Welcome back to the fire. We're warm, we're cozy, we're getting all snuggled up, and we're about to get ready to go here. So we're just going to quickly drink our water just to keep maintained on our hydration. But we're going to fill this back up. And what we're going to do is, I also didn't realize you could do this for quite a while, but we can fill our coconut bowls up with water. Oh, is there already water in them? No, it's empty. Okay, we're going to fill our coconut bowls up with some water. And one of the neat, cool things that we can do here is we can actually boil water, and in the boiled water, we can actually cook food. So we can actually take some rattlesnake meat and cook it up. And alternatively, we can also cook things such as mushrooms in water as well. And we're going to get it's kind of like the best of both worlds, because we're going to get all the supplements out of the meat, but it's also going to give us a lot of hydration. So snake meat happens to, and we can also, just again, for the sake of this, we can also just cook meat straight up on the fire. And it's going to give us the kind of, which is, I guess, is beneficial to cook it over the fire, because then it's going to identify the meat and what it does for us. And we're going to see just how rattlesnake meat affects us without the effects of the water. Now, we got a bunch of hydration. We also got 15 protein out of that meal. But after we see the rattlesnake meat cooked and we consume it, it's going to bookmark that, because the meat stew is always going to give you a kind of random set of attributes based on whatever you ended up cooking. Okay, so our rattlesnake meat just finished cooking. We're going to go ahead, take it. We're going to go ahead, eat it, because our character is still quite hungry. And after we eat the rattlesnake meat, we're going to notice it gives us 5 energy and 12 proteins. So that's always going to be bookmarked now as of us knowing. So let's that doesn't solve an early problem. One of the hardest nutrients to supply is fats, proteins and fats. Now, rattlesnakes are very small. They're very lean creatures. They don't have a lot of fat to them. So let's go find something a little more satisfying. Okay, so we're back across our bridge. It's daytime, which is great. It's well lit for us to see. Let's go ahead and find, see what kind of wildlife is just looming right across the bridge there. I noticed that these flowers here typically attract some wild animals. And so setting up camp near a source of this is also pretty good. Let's see what we can find. Usually you can hear them snooping around. You hear the clopping of feet in the mud, or you can hear the tiny little footprints, the little pitter patter of little creatures roaming the wilderness, unsuspecting for us. So as you just continue a little bit forward, this is right off the top of that ridge. We're going to come into this little, it's like a little dried up river, a little ravine. And I can hear something clopping around. There he is there. That's an armadillo, a 3-man armadillo. Now this little fella, he's small and he don't move very fast. So if you run up on him with the sprint key, he's just going to curl into a ball, and we're going to get ourselves some 3-man armadillo meat. So this is another source of meat early in the game. And this guy here, he spawns, and you're going to notice once you start harvesting animals, it goes away fast because it's in the rain and it kind of cleaned us up super fast. But you're going to notice that you're going to get dirty. Please do not eat or drink water while you're dirty. You're going to get sick. Go to a water source, right click it, and choose to wash yourself off. Oh, well, I found another friend here, another rattlesnake. So we already know how to deal with these dudes. Just toss a couple stones, get yourself some rattlesnake meats, and go ahead and live in the lap of luxury. We now have a selection of meats to choose from. And again, we haven't gone very far. We did happen to see, I just turned around and happened to find a dead bird on the ground. So we're gonna nab that parrot. Again, we haven't gone very far. We're still in this little ravine area, but we're looking for something a little bit bigger to eat. All right, while you're out hunting, please avoid poison dart frogs. Don't attempt to pick them up. Don't attempt to eat them. Don't attempt to cook them. Don't attempt anything with poison dart frogs as far as survival goes, because it's just not going to work out very well. And what do I spy with my little eye as we come across here? A little dude just kind of chilling in the water. Looks like he's having a bath. He's having some fun playing in the water. Again, we only followed up that little path just a very short way. We happen to find some unknown nuts as well. Now, and I guess we'll take these mushrooms as well. All right, so what's going to happen is if we get too close to this creature, he's going to run away. Which makes, and he runs a lot faster than we do, so it makes hunting them down to be quite difficult. So I guess we're going to have to find an alternate method. Now, there's two ways we can do this as an alternate method. Again, this is right where we were. We're just coming back up to the frontier of where we were. I'm going to show you one more craft that we can do that's going to help us out a ton. Okay, so I just came back to my campfire, and so we know that the rattlesnake meat is kind of better as it is cooked, or is it better boiled than it is cooked? So we're going to cook some actually, let's cook the armadillo meat, and we're going to boil up the rattlesnake meat. Now, cooking meat in water is always super fast, and it's a really great way if you're just looking to get that quick fix into your character. It's just the best way to kind of get in and get on it. So let's cook up this rattlesnake meat, because another thing that's great about protein and eating meat is that once you eat meat, not just protein, but meat, you actually get energy from basically all sources of meat, which require you to A, sleep less, especially if your character is tired, and B, sleep less. It gives you more access to stamina, gives you more option to kind of survive in the wild. Let's go ahead and cook this mushroom just so we can also... Oh, we cannot cook it on the fire, so looks like you just have to boil it. I'm going to leave it there. I don't really care for that mushroom. It's kind of just the way it is. But now that we've got that banded armadillo meat is going to take a while. We've got some energy. Let's go ahead and go ahead and look for that animal again. So just to keep you guys with me here, again, I just want to show you that we're not going too far across the path. Always keep collecting things as you're going. Always look at the ground. You're going to find more interesting things on the ground than you are in the sky in the jungle. The sky just always looks like treetops, and the ground is full of cool little things, whether it's critters or predators or... Okay, so now that we're back to the ravine, I just wanted to show you. So this is the path that we followed. That's our camp just off in this direction. If you're ever curious, kind of always keep an eye on your watch to find out which direction you're going. So you know if you continue going south, that going north is the opposite direction. It's going to take you home. Let's go ahead and see if we can find some little critters running around this area. We've seen one before. He was playing in the water. Maybe he's going to be back by now. Again, if you can hear them walking around in the water, or you can usually hear them walking around in the mud and the water, but our friend has made it back. Now, if you get close to him, you're going to notice he's going to see us. He's going to hear us. He's going up that way. And once he hears us, he's going to perk his little head up. And that's like the danger zone. So we don't want to get too much closer than that, or else we're going to scare him away. Oh, there he is. So remember how I told you that we learned that we could throw spears? This is probably the best method for... No, come back! Well, he took my spear and he's gone. Or, alternatively, instead of crafting another spear while we're out here, I wonder how far he ran off. One of the things that we found in the jungle was we found a parrot's body. So we can actually harvest this parrot's body, and it's going to give us a couple things. It's going to give us meat. It's going to give us some macaw meat, but it's also going to give us access to crafting arrows. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft a small stick, and we're going to craft 2 different bird feathers, and we're going to come out with an arrow. I bet you that's him right there. I bet you that's that little dude with my spear stuck in him. So again, we have 6 arrows, or we have 6 feathers. So we're going to go ahead and craft 3 arrows for us. That should be sufficient. I think that we can be careful enough. We can be careful enough now. We've already lost a spear. I'm so tired. I realize that, Shane, or Jake. Sorry, I'm playing 2 different games. Look, there's another guy as well. So while we're doing this, we can actually go ahead. Okay, let's get the sneak up on him. Now, ideally, we want to shoot them in the head. I know that seems kind of like, but it's very difficult. Once you draw the bow, you can actually hold shift and it's going to steady your shot for a short period of time. Also based on how much stamina you have. So I'm a pretty good shot. That's a good shot for me. But we have 2 of these little creatures. Now, time for us to, well, this is how we wash ourselves. We're gonna need to do that after this. But let's find the capybara. Okay, we're targeting this game is also a little iffy. Okay, so we're gonna hold E to harvest. It's also gonna give us our arrow back as well when we harvest him, so that works out. I wonder if either of these guys had my stone spear. That guy didn't. We're gonna harvest this guy here as well. So we're gonna get skill ups for harvesting animals, but you're gonna notice we're getting quite dirty. We're at like 3 stacks of filth, and now we're at 5 stacks of filth, and we're already overburdened. So when you harvest animals, you notice in the bottom right, we got a boatload of stuff. We can actually get rid of most of these bones. We're not gonna use all of them. And we're also, while we're in dirty water, we're gonna wash ourselves up, so we don't have to, oh, I thought I had clicked drink. Drinking this water is also not terrible, but if you drink water that's unsafe or dirty, you have a higher chance. You definitely can get parasites, which is something that we don't want. So did I ever get my spear back? I did not. Okay, so just because I know our camp is south-based, so we're going to head south, and we're just going to head right back to camp. Alternatively, you guys can go back around that little ravine if you'd like. I've played enough of the game, I definitely can recognize where I need to go. It's getting late at night, so again, another thing. But let's head back to camp. Okay, our fire is still burning, and I did this on purpose just to show you guys, but you can definitely leave meat on the stove for too long and you can burn it. Now, it's not ideal. Look at that. We have 8 pieces of meat. That is amazing. That is an incredible amount of meat for us to have access to. And then we're going to go ahead and cook some of it as well. The capybara meat takes quite a while to cook. However, I think you're gonna enjoy it. Capybara meat is probably my favorite meat to consume in game. And we're gonna see why once we pop this capybara meat into the pot of stew, into the meat stew. Again, the only benefit you're seeing out of the stew extra is you're getting hydration. However, you're gonna see basically all the main stats of the meat, just like it.
Need to rest.
Okay, so Shane is complaining he's tired as well. I need to rest. I need to rest. Well, Shane, don't worry. We got you hooked up. You just got 15 energy, 72 proteins, 22 fats, and 10 hydration. This is why learning how to craft safe drinking water is so amazing. Our stats are now basically through the roof. We're only missing a little bit of hydration. That's just because I haven't been focusing on it. But basically now we have 6 pieces of meat that we can go ahead and cook up. If you want to get fancy, now that we've kind of set up a base and you're feeling comfortable here, you can go ahead and craft a couple more things. Let's see what else we have access to here when it comes to fire. Okay, we only actually have that, so never mind. Like now that we're here, we can start building big frames and we can start building, we can start expanding our hut. We can start saying, okay, you know what? I think I want to build another, I think I want to build a wall or something going on over here. So we can go back into our shelter. We can build a wall, or maybe we can build another frame and connect it onwards, right? And now we're living in the lap of luxury and have a double wide condo. You know, some pretty good stuff going on for us in our life now. just with a little basic help and a little basic understanding of the game, being a little careful, you know, it's a good day. Now, while we're here, I like to keep my inventory light because the meat does weigh a lot. One piece of capybara meat weighs like 2.5 weight. So I don't know if it's in kgs or what it is. However, it's 2.5, which is pretty excessive, considering that if you go out hunting and you grab a couple pieces of capybara meat, you know, we took out 2 capybara and we ended up with 8 pieces of meat, and our inventory was immediately stocked full. So we actually have the capybara meat cooked. Let's see what the actual benefits of it are. Let's take the burnt meat and put it over here. Let's put the raw meat together. I don't know why he insists on stacking cooked meat with raw meat, but that's kind of his own prerogative. Let's go ahead and eat this. Again, even if you don't need the stats, it's always cool to eat protein and drink meat. Oops, I drank my water. It's always good to do that because you get the energy out of it, and then you don't have to sleep. Especially because we don't have a bed right now. And I didn't cover crafting a bed because I just kind of want to talk about the very basic survival instincts. If you play this game for more than an hour and you do not decide to stay in the very starting area, you're going to find some pretty some good stuff as well, and it's going to kind of want to keep you moving forward. I think this game is best played moving forward and not setting up a large camp, but it is important to set up little base camps and stuff. You know, just a little shelter with a fire, maybe a bed. All those things are important. So again, let's just keep set. See, like now within a short period of time, we have within a very short period of time, we have access to meat, and anytime we're hungry now, we can just go ahead and go on out and go for some lunch. We can focus on like building a bed if we wanted to, because it is kind of basic part of survival. We're gonna find it in housing needs, and we're gonna find let's just get a leaf bed, I guess. Leaf bed is probably fine. I don't think we need any of this stuff here. Just a little leaf bed. We're gonna put it right beside our little campfire here. There we go. So we're just gonna need 10 palm leaves while our food is cooking away here. And always don't forget to keep your fires stoked. So you can alt click on your keyboard by holding alt, and you can grab stacks of items. I typically just throw a whole stack of sticks on there because you replenish sticks pretty fast, especially if you're going to go down cutting down trees for material. It's just a really quick replenish. You often find sticks on the ground as well. Welcome. I feel like I rambled on a little bit, but I did I feel like I kind of set out to show you guys a couple things. I didn't cover like healing or anything. I didn't cover care when it comes to like wounds and stuff. And you guys will learn, like, the game is very good at explaining to you, like, you need to inspect yourself. You need to keep an eye on the bottom left of your camera to see if you got leeches on you. It's typically leeches. I think I will show you a little bit about self-care, just really quickly because we're here. But let's go ahead. We're going to find those palm leaves, but I just happened to see what I was looking for just across the bridge here while we were out scavenging for food. Now, what we're looking for is we're looking for plants called Molinera plants that provide us with Molinera leaves. And you're going to recognize the Molinera plant because it's going to have little yellow flowers around the base. They almost look like these flowers here, but they're much smaller. So these are not the plants we're looking for. Okay, so this plant here is the Molinera plant, and you're going to notice, again, it's got small little yellow flowers around it. Just going to hit it a couple of times, and it's going to drop some leaves for us. We have them in our inventory, so we're going to go ahead and craft these into some bandages. Just one Molinera leaf all by itself. Okay, I've gone ahead and crafted my bed. There's a big stone on it, so let's put that over here. I didn't burn any more meat, but anyways, so welcome. I guess it's time for us to sleep. If you do go for too long without sleep, you will acquire insomnia, which is a status effect. So you should probably sleep for a little bit. It's good for us. While you're sleeping on a bed, it's going to be a lot better because if you're sleeping on the ground, There are chances that you could wake up with some other status effects that you're not going to want to deal with. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Oh, I slept too long and let our fire go out. Fire turns into campfire ash and charcoal, and the campfire ash is used for some later stuff, and the charcoal is just used to restoke the fires. Let's just kind of get that going, because I need the fire to show you a little bit about injuries. So let's get that fire crafted. Okay, so we have a fire started. So there's a couple things that are going to go on here. Oh, that water bowl is making a lot of noise. Okay, so again, just for the sake of the game, I'm just going to save my game just because I'm going to be intentionally damaging myself. Things can happen, okay? Jake can fall. He can hurt himself. Actually, let's take a fall instead. You can burn yourself by walking into the fire, so be careful. If you're feeling brave and you decide to take a jump, you're going to hurt yourself, okay? Now, one of two things is going to happen here. While we inspect ourselves, let's take a look at our leg here. He's got a pretty nasty scratch there, okay? Now, this will go away by itself, assuming you're clean. If you're dirty, you increase the chance for infection, okay? And you take one of your Molinera bandages, you go into your inspection menu, you go to your leg, you open up and see where it was, open up your backpack on the right-hand side of the menu, and you apply a leaf bandage. Good job, Jake. You have a bandage. Okay, we're actually doing really well. There's a little status icon on the bottom left that will fill up over time. It will show that that's the progress for it to heal. So that's a thing. Okay, now as you can see, that little icon is slowly filling up, and you can tell because it was gray and now it's kind of filling up with a more white filled outline. So that's one way to heal yourself, and over time that will work. The next thing we can do is we can say, oh, whoops, we fell again. Gosh, golly gee willikers. Clumsy old me. Oh wait, did we not get another scratch abrasion? Well, we're just going to have to try that again, aren't we? Okay, well, we're still not getting scratches, abrasions. So let's get a little too close to the campfire here. It doesn't seem to be working. I guess maybe what we'll do is we'll wait for the one wound to heal, just to show you kind of how that works. It's almost healed up. Let's just take a little peek at it here. It's doing well. It's almost like armor. Okay, so now that the legging is off, it's going to show that we're regaining our health again. During status impairments, it's very difficult for you to maintain regaining health. So it's always, a lot of times it'll just kind of make you wait till whatever status ailment is bothering you before you can actually go ahead and continue to recover health. So let's go ahead and have a little nappy poo, and we're just going to recover that health really quickly. And let's say we got going and we stoked our fire too much, and we got a little too close, and let's say we burnt our legs. Ow, man. Burning my leg is just painful. Okay? So we're going to take a little look at that. Oh, man. Gosh, that's a bad looking burn. Well, I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's say you decide to leave your bandages and you say, you know what? Bandages, who needs them, right? Oh, let's say you have an injury and you say, you know what? Oshi just taught me how to hunt. I don't need a Band-Aid. I'm better than that. And you say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go do some hunting, and you go ahead and harvest, and you haven't been listening to some of the things I said. You've just been listening to some of the key points, and you're saying, you know what? I'm tired. Let's go to bed. Because you did a bunch of hunting or you somehow got dirty, and, oh, man, you didn't clean yourself up. Okay, so now we have woke up and we are not feeling so hot. I accidentally slept a little too late. But if you go ahead and inspect that old wound you got, it's not looking so good, okay? This old wound's not looking. Let's get it in the light here. Okay, so that's it's looking pretty gnarly. Now, this is actually an infection, and because we're dying so fast, I'm going to go ahead and just put that on there now. But we found it a little bit earlier, and we'll probably die, I guess, because of this. Oh, we also have parasites because we're eating things while we're dirty because I'm not paying attention. You put maggots on an infected wound, and the maggots act as the same thing before, where you see that little icon in the bottom left of the screen. It kind of does a healing motion. So if you bandage an infected wound, it will not heal it. You need to... Oh, my fire just went out too. Great. Oh, man. So we're just going to wait for that to kind of... We're going to wait for that to kind of take care of itself. Once the maggots are done cleaning the wound, then we can go ahead and... yeah, let's drink some water. Sure. We're running a fever or something right now, so probably a good idea to drink some water. You're going to notice once you get sick too, it's going to really affect your statistics. Your hydration is going to drop if you're fevering, and that's normal. It's just like being sick in real life. Again, even though we have that gray bit of health, it's not going to start going up until we're done. Until we're feeling better. Get these leeches off us. Kind of need all the blood we can get right now. So now that the healing method is finished on that, now the wound actually looks normal again. So now we can go ahead and put that bandage on there, which is probably a good idea considering we're slowly dying. We're fading fast. Again, going to our backpack, we're going to go ahead and put the bandage on. We're going to wrap up and we're going to be good to go. Now, there's a couple other ways to do bandages. Again, I didn't really cover a whole lot of stuff. If you happen to get snake bites, you can actually... I went and found some tobacco leaves while I was out and about. And I think you can craft them with a bandage to make a tobacco dressing. And the tobacco dressing is going to be good for... I think it tells you in your notebook. There's actually a couple different things you should be reading about in here. So if you get a couple different things, definitely check your notebook because it's going to tell you, right? Like scratches, abrasions, definitely covering a wound, allowing it to heal, protects it from infections, and it will speed up a healing substance if you can find a disinfecting substance. Again, not really going to dive into the necessities. Same with infections, right? It actually tells you this to put maggots on the wound and to bandage. Now, if you have something with antibiotics, I mean, that would be ideal. However, you can get a rash. You can bandage this. The rashes will just go away over time. If you get leeches, pull them off your body. It tells you about fever. So there's a lot of different things that you can learn about just by reading your notebook as well. And you can also, once you see some of these things, some of these have visual guides in the notebook as well. Molinero, the tobacco leaf, and then some of the stuff you've gathered as well. So if you ever get bitten by a snake, find some tobacco leaves, make yourself a tobacco dressing, and go ahead and cover it up so you don't so you reduce that poison right away. Okay, we're finally good to go. And now I think I can sleep without dying. We'll just see what happens here. Yeah, we're gonna get our health back now, and we're back and good to go. So we've survived a couple different damages. We've managed the self-inflicted wounds. This is kind of a long video. I thought it was going to be much shorter than this, but I did a lot of talking. But I also tried to do a lot of explaining for you guys as well. Anybody who's new to the game, and kind of talk about throwing rocks and throwing spears and how to hunt and which animals to hunt. And I tried not to tell you guys too much of what's safe and what's not. I did tell a little bit about it, right? I told you guys not to eat that mushroom with the webbing on it. Probably a good idea. But go ahead. Explore green hell. Cook different foods, put them together, save your game often. You now have the opportunity to do so. Explore the world. It's amazing. That's it. That's it for your survival guide with Oshikorosu. Sorry if I talked a little too long, but now you guys know. And happy, let's see if we can get him happy hunting. Now you can actually swim in the water too. And I guess another thing that goes for hunting is if you happen to see something that looking a little tasty, shoot it with an arrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Be well. Stay awesome. And I really hope you guys enjoy Green Hell. Take care, guys. Hey, there's that toucan.